So what I have seen today, I was preoccupied yesterday, could not come, but the 3 sessions which I attended today, I think what my presentation or the topic which I'm going to talk about is nothing but the summarization of the key things which got discussed over these 2 days, which were, I'm truly believing that very enriching, enlightening, and engaging. And it is nothing but the summarization of all those points, because I think what journey which I have made in the last 3 decades and what learning I have made, that all got discussed over here, and something which I started with and the realization I made during my journey. And I'm of the firm belief now that cost efficiency is not the key, the operational strength is the key for everything. Having said that, the global automotive market is undergoing a profound transformation. What is started with the sheer cost efficiency pursuit, focused through the lean manufacturing, outsourcing, and economies of scales, is converging into the new era of nothing but operational strength through resilience, sustainability, as well as innovation. Now, this is the mandatory, because as we see that in the last years, we saw a lot of global supply interruptions, the change in the innovation, as well as we saw that the customer expectations are changing. There is customer expectation building up, and which means in order to be competitive, to keep on meeting the customer expectation, we are under tremendous pressure, which calls for that we have to reinvent ourselves to remain competitive and remain into this automotive manufacturing world and reinvent our thoughts, our way of working, and still be there to survive through these times. Having said that, what is changing in the automotive landscape? The new benchmarks are being made in agility, in sustainability, as well as in resilience, which is mandatory for not only the survival, but also for the growth of any business, any manufacturing business. Let's talk about what lean resilience is all about. The traditional focus has always been that we look for the cost efficiency through lean manufacturing, which is nothing but cutting down the cost, and many companies focusing on the lean manufacturing, the cost optimization, reducing the waste, and getting the better ideas of sourcing with the only focus of making the margins. And in these margins, they have been finding the optimization to the sourcing and making the shopping all around. But this has led to only one single focus, which was how to secure the margins. And in this pursuit, what we have done is, it has all come at the cost of flexibility as well as the risk, which we could not manage. And we have shown that with this global so-called optimized sourcing, we were exposed to the vulnerability which is coming through during the COVID times, or we saw the Suez Canal issue, the Gaza issue, Ukraine war issue, semiconductors, and very soon our rare earth metals. So it's a very fragile kind of a working, which is based on the global so-called optimum sourcing, which led to only sustenance of the margins, and we never saw about the risk it brought into. And as a result, we were ending up into the situation wherein we have to find out the alternate routes, and to be competitive and continue to be surviving through this time, efficiency alone is not the key. We have to have strength, we have to have flexibility, we have to have adaptability, which means we need to have agility, we need to have resilience. And what is required is not only the efficiency through lean, it's not the only way of surviving through these times. What further we need to do is to adapt to the situation, be fast, and most importantly, sustain the kind of capacities and the capabilities we have with the changing world scenarios as well as the conditions. So as we have seen in the different panel discussions and the speakers, that this is something which has already been spoken about. These key drivers of the reinvention, which is the need of the hour with the change of the expectations of the customers and the challenges which we're getting from the market, the volatility in the global supply chain, as well as the IoT, the technological advancements, the sustainability, the regulation requirement, and most important, what we see in the automotive sector now, electrification as well as the mobility transformation. These are the main drivers which are leading to the so-called reinvention which is required. And if we talk about the operational strength which has taken over from the cost efficiency, what exactly the operational strength means in current scenario and which will remain further also is the agility in our production systems. And when we say the agility is the speed in order to adapt and adopt the changing condition and be there. The real-time data-driven, which brings the speed to us, it brings the efficiency, it brings the effectiveness. Flexibility in the production systems, as we have seen in the panel discussions also, flexibility was one of the topics which was said, that this is also required because with changing scenarios, limited resources, and the decisions to be made, that where and what need to be invested into. So flexibility is required. And again, ability to scale up and scale down based on the market and the customer needs with the minimum disruption. I still remember the 3 decades back when I started my career and going to the shop floor, if I have to have some data, I need to go to the machine, take a paper and pen with me, note down the data, come back on my seat, put that into a format, get that into a paper, and then put that into a fax to share with my other plants. And as I'm working with the MNC of Germany, so to get that over there. And now, as we see, we can go with our mobiles, with the Google Sheets in that, we put some information on that in another next seconds. It is not only going through the other plants, but also different countries and continents. That's the kind of speed which it has brought into, and which is also bringing the efficiency, reducing the response time, cutting down the cost, and giving us the more efficiency. So there's a big change which is happening and which is required in order to have the operational strength. Now, these 3 pillars of reinvention, if we have to see, it starts with the transformation which is coming from the digital. So in the core of the digital transformation is, as we have seen, Industry 4. Now we talk about the Industry 5, which is again getting into the human factor into it. But still, previous panel discussed, we still could not got to the Industry 4 fully implementations. We talked about it. Some did, some did not did. But I think this is based on the need of the organization, the suitability and the demand, and their readiness to adapt to it. So when we talk about Industry 4, it's about the smart factories, it's about the AI predictive. And then I still remember Mr. Ramesh said that learning from the previous mistakes and the problems and able to make the prediction of the next things, this is what is required to be prepared, and this was the definition he gave for the resilience, which is prepared for something which has happened in the past, taking the clue of that, so which is nothing but the AI-driven predictive things. And also, in order to have a faster pace of the development, the digital twin, in order to get in the previous times to make a prototype and to have the feel of the things and the products which we want to make, we can do much faster with the digital twin and not making that kind of an investment which gives us more opportunities and ability to expand, to put our efforts into different areas as well as our resources. And finally, the cloud and data platforms, which helps us to assess, as some data was given about the huge number of data which is available, but then it's not being used, getting down with servers. Yes, this data is required to make a well-informed and known decisions, which is going to bring the efficiency into our manufacturing. And automation is not all about the cost. Automation is beyond the cost. And when we talk about the cost cutting, we are moving from cost cutting to the capability building, because as we only focused onto the margins and the cost was the only prime factor which was being seen, so it's not the thing, it is required. We need to build onto the capabilities. And then we talk about the collaborative robots, the cobots, the AI-based quality control systems, which helps us to make a evaluation much faster, decisions much faster. We spoke about the auto vision system, and in one of the panel discussions it came out that there is still reluctance in the acceptance or adoption of the technology, it's not the reluctance, it's the fear of success. Whereas my team can also vouch that we too have made certain investment. We know what we want, but as said, the manufacturing and the technology. Does technology understand fully what manufacturing wants, and what manufacturing exactly understands what technology is going to deliver? Because that was the case. 7 million worth of investment went down the drain because we were not able to get the results which we have looked for. Manufacturing knew it, but they could not understand whether technology would be able to deliver. Technology thought they understood the manufacturing requirement, but they could not make the synergies in that. And that's the reason, that's the only thing. The adaptation, the understanding is the bottleneck, and there is no fear in making the investment going for the new technologies. Having said that, with this, the only way of getting to the capability building using the IT base, which will help us to improve the productivity, safety, as well as the precision and the accuracy. This is the need of the hour. And second pillar is the supply chain resilient. As we see, the disruptions have always impacted the supply chains, which has forced us to look for the different alternatives, different other ways of doing the things, and localization. Before we talked about the globalization, and we found that how fragile that globalization complete environment was when, because of the one issue at the one part of the globe, the complete globe was getting impacted. So next thing is the globalization, regional manufacturing hubs, and as we also seen in India, we are working on the manufacturing as a part of government initiatives, as a part of the big OEMs manufacturing initiatives, and diversifying our sourcing for the critical parts, not getting away from inventories, but going onto the strategic inventories, making a balance by doing the nearshoring, and most importantly, making a collaborative supplier engagement and ecosystem. We cannot survive of our own. We need to have our suppliers with us, and we need to have an ecosystem which is collaborative in the nature. And the last and the most important, and I think prior to this panel discussion, there was one comment that for next things, we need doctors, we do not need compounders. And I must say, this is the hard fact, and yes, but what are we doing about it? We need to upskill our workforce for that. We need to upskill them in the AI. Somebody calls it an artificial intelligence. For me, it's acquired intelligence, because we are learning in manufacturing. The machine learning is happening. Self-learning is happening. It's acquired intelligence, which we have. The AI, the robotics, analysis of the data. This is the most important thing. So we need to have so reskilling, upskilling is required to be prepared for the future requirements. And some of the lessons comes, from the points from somebody where you have a list of the expectation, and sometimes it hits you very hard. I was talking to my son, who is in the 3rd year of engineering, and I was talking to him about this AI and the things, because being a mechanical engineer, IT has not been my forte. And I have been more into just knowledge base, but never been an experience, and not been a subject expert, and I have been more of a user. And I have been so far banking on the capabilities of my own team with their learnings, knowledge, and experience. And as I was talking to my son, and I was talking about, this AI thing, I don't understand that. And he said, Dad, you need to learn that. I said, no, but I am putting efforts, and I'm giving training to my blue collar, the workers, they're getting the tools. He said, yeah, that's all fine, but what are you doing to acquaint yourself with that knowledge? Because if you are not going to do it, you are going to become a dinosaur of the manufacturing, because world is changing, and you become extinct if you do not upskill yourself. So it's not the upskilling of the only operators who are working in the shop floors, although we need to give them all tools, mobile tools and the technological digital tools to do their work. It is required by the management team also, which is the middle management, the senior management, and also the top management, to understand, even though not coming from the IT background, because they are the one who are going to learn, understand, and then collaborate with their people. As somebody said about the Gemba walk, when some blue-collar worker going together with the plant manager, how are they going to understand and create the synergies and making the collaboration to understand each other? So it's not about only the workforce to be upskilled. The upskilling is required at every level in this manufacturing. And most importantly, human-robot collaborative with safety. And I think in the previous panel discussions, we talked about the safety in a big way, and then how safer operations have been, although it was coming from diversification, but then it has to be together for all the workforce which is working in the manufacturing. They need to be collaborative, using the new technology, new tools, the robots, but with the safety part of it. So what does that mean? What is now the new equation for the success? The old model said the cost efficiency brings the competitiveness. More the cost efficient you are, the most cost competitive you are, which is now the old thing. The new thing is the efficiency, resilience, and sustainability brings the strength, and this is what the operational strength we all are talking about. It cannot be only cost. It cannot be only cost efficiency. We have to be resilient, we have to be sustainable, we have to be agile, and we need to be efficient. And with this, we need to have a balancing act between the short-term saving versus the long-term capabilities, because we need to be ready for future. And having said that, what is the conclusion and the way forward? Reinvention, what we talked about, that we all need to get to, especially in the automotive sector with the changing scenarios, is not a project with a definite start and definite end for a temporary arrangement. It's a long journey. It's a journey of a continual improvement. It's a journey of learning. It's a journey of sustenance, and then making further improvement. So it is a long journey which is blending the technology, the people, and the process, bringing them together in order to build manufacturing which is cost efficient, resilient, as well as future ready. This is the only way which we can proceed to. And as I read the quote, that the future of automotive manufacturing lies in the blending intelligence and ingenuity, where digital power meets human purpose. Because by embracing the automations, data, and innovation, industry can move beyond efficiency towards the true operational strength, and creating factories that are not just productive, but also resilient, adaptive, and ready for the future with agility. And as I said in the starting, 3 decades, it started with learning and still learning. And today, it has been a great learning experience through the speakers and the panel discussions. And I would like to, and I would be more than happy to be in connect with you all. Thanking for your attention. In order to continue with the learning, let's connect, let's share experience, let's share our knowledge, and make this world, the manufacturing automotive industry, as well as this scenario, a better one, ready for the future with agility, sustainability, and resilience. Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.